opportunity to volunteer here on campus. My name is Maha. I'm an intro to communication student at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. Today I'm going to tell you about my service experience. First, I'll tell you what I did and what I didn't. Second, I'll tell you about the communication principles and concepts that connected to my service experience. And lastly, I'll tell you how I can improve my communication. Starting with the first point. I did my volunteering hours at the Trojan Food Pantry, which is located here in campus at the North Admission Building. This is really important because you'll see how little things you do can help a lot. The mission of my organization, according to YOLO website, is simply saying that building a strong campus community by fighting hunger. When I first went to the Trojan Food Pantry, I met a girl. She was on the front desk, so I told her that I want to volunteer. So she took me to the food storage, and there I found like 4 to 5 people, 5 students. They were also volunteering. So I divided my volunteering hours in 2 days. The first day I was like organizing storage, the food storage and counting the cans. And the second day I was supposed to meet the people who come and ask for food and fill out forms for them and help them to get what they need. But actually, the second day no one came to the office, so I would just stay at the office and do my homework. So I'm going to tell you about the first day. Okay. I think what I did as organizing the food storage and counting the cans is helping to know how much they have and how much more they need to cover all people who need food. And that's maybe helping to accomplish their mission. Moving to the next point, there's communication principle and 2 communication concepts that connected to my service experience. This is important because communication can be verbal or non-verbal, and listening is an essential skill. The relevant communication principle is messages reveal and impact the nature of the relationship between the communicators. The definition according to the YOLO Survivor Guide 2018 is every message, verbal and non-verbal, we interpret influences in some way how we see the relationship with the other. In fact, most of the time, the message that seems to have nothing to do with the relationship, it tells us the most about it. An example from my service that illustrates this principle is one of the girls who was in our group. She seemed like she's not really comfortable to work with me, but she didn't say anything to me. But I could see that through her body language, or her eye contact. My example illustrates the principle because communicators can explain things not only by their verbal messages, but also by their non-verbal messages. The first communication concept is non-verbal communication. The definition according to Alva, Rodman, and Dubrey 2017 is messages expressed by other than linguistic means. An example from my service that illustrates this concept, I understood that the girl, she didn't want to work with me from her non-verbal messages, as I said, her body language. My example illustrates the definition because our non-verbal messages sometimes can explain what we're trying to hide. The second communication concept is task-oriented listening. The definition according to Alla, Rodman, and Dubrey 2017 is a listening style that primarily concerned with accomplishing the task at hand. An example from my service that illustrates this concept, when we were organizing the food stores and the cans, there was a girl. She was guiding us and tell us what we have to do step by step. So we will listen to her to understand what we should do to finish the task. My example illustrates the definition because sometimes we just listen to understand how to accomplish the tasks that we have to do. Moving to the last point, I can use communication concept and ethical implication to improve my communication and help improve my community. This might help you to improve your communication as it does to me. A communication concept I could use to improve my communication is empathy. The definition according to Alva, Rodman, and Dubrey 2017 is the ability to project oneself into another person's point of view, so as to experience the other's thoughts and feelings. I chose this concept based on my service experience because I think it's important to have empathy for people around us. because that will help us to understand their behaviors. I can use this concept to improve my communication by having empathy for people who don't treat me well. An ethical implication I could use to improve my communication would be caring with grace. The definition according to Yellow Survival Guide 2018 is understanding and meeting the needs of the people who interact with. I chose this implication based on my service experience because I think it's important to give chance to people rather than immediately assuming the worst from them. I can use this implication to improve my community by if someone didn't treat me well, I'll try to forgive him and treat him as I would like to be treated. Finally, today I told you about my service experience. First, I told you what I did and where I did it. Second, I told you about the communication principle and concept that connected to my service experience. And finally, I told you how I can improve my communication. Always find opportunities to be active in your community and help it grow up.